Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Life Hurt Podcast. This is Janai. I am one of the co hosts for Life Hurt Podcast Arizona, and it is Monday. So I'm back excited to speak with our guest today. Her name is Tiara. I hope I'm saying it right. Tiara Riley. I'm excited to speak to this awesome young woman. She is going to be talking to us about some exciting things about entrepreneurship, about mommypreneurship, right? She's going to be talking to us about her new book and more. So you want to make sure that you tune in, and I'm going to be bringing her up in just a second.
Hello.
Hello, so nice to have you on, Tiara. Thank
Thank
you for
you.
being on Life Her Podcast. And again, my name is Janai. I'm with Life Her Podcast Arizona team. Whoop, whoop.
Yes, yes. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm so glad to have you. We're happy that we're getting to talk about the things that you want to talk about today, and excited to introduce you to our platform. So, without further ado, go ahead and tell our viewers who you are, and just give us a little bit of background about you before we go into everything.
Yes, so my name is Tiara Nicole Riley. I am a four-time published author and a motivational speaker. And I am a mom, angel mom, stepmom, all the mom hats now. Check, check, check. But I am, by day, I'm an HR manager. By night, I am all the things. I'm a proud member of Sigma Gamma Sorority Incorporated. Um,
Okay.
and, I'm just trying to live my best life?
I know that's right. Aren't we all trying to live our best life? Come
One day
on.
at a time.
That's right. That's right. Well, it's a pleasure meeting with you. I'm excited to talk about just what it's like. Can you tell us, because it sounds like you're wearing a lot of hats, right? You're a mom. I know we were talking earlier to small children. You said you're a stepmom. So and then you have your business. You just wrote a new book. So can
Yep.
you kind of like just share with us what that's been like, trying to transition from mommy to business owner to author and whatever else you have going on?
Yes. So one of my greatest strengths is I'm a very organized person and I'm great with time management. And I think that is what has allowed me to do all the things, right? Because
Mhm.
it's a lot. And sometimes it's overwhelming. But I try to keep in mind. I remember years ago, I heard a TD Jakes quote, and they were asking him like, "How do you do all the things that you do?" Right? Because I mean,
Mhm.
you think I'm busy, child, triple it, right? And then you might get close to what he got going on. And
Right.
he said, every I'm paraphrasing obviously, but he said
Mhm.
every day I'm gonna drop the ball on something. Every day I might disappoint somebody. It's my goal to not disappoint the same person twice. And so
Mm.
what that freed me from was the need to be perfect about everything and to understand like I may not be perfect here today,
Right.
but as long as it's not a continuous issue, as long as it's not habitual, right? And understanding that like mom guilt comes naturally, we have to give ourselves mom grace.
That's good.
And that's a daily practice. Every day we have to give ourselves grace as a mom and understand like this is the first time I've been a mom in this exact space. You know what I mean? Like today, years
Right.
old, this is the first time I've been here. So being understanding of the fact that I'm not going to know what I'm doing.
I
It
like
is what it
that.
is. I'm going to do the best that I can in that moment and continue to strive to be the best that I can and show up in each area in the best that I can and trying to be sure that I'm only focused on what I'm focused on.
Yeah.
So right now, I'm focused on being the best interviewee that I can, right? All those other hats
Mhm.
have to take a back burner because that's not what I'm worried about right now. And if I'm focused on everything else that I have going on, I'm not focused on what I'm focused on.
I love that. You said a mouthful. Mommy grace, okay? Like, first
Okay.
of all, give yourself mommy grace. That is so important. Someone in the comments agrees with me. That is so important. First of all, hello to all of our life her um people that are committed, our life her a family that comes on and support. Shout out to all of Tiara's supporters that have come on to cheer her on. I wanted to make sure that I spoke to you, but yes, that is so important, mommy grace. Like, because sometimes it could be so overwhelming. You know, we don't have any handbooks coming with this parents and stuff. So it's
Okay.
just so important to make sure that that's a nugget. If you don't get anything else out of what she says today, make sure
Mom
you
grace
take that one with you,
every day.
mommy grace, because it can be, you don't know if you're doing it right. You don't know, we put so much pressure on ourselves, and so to add something else to that, just along with that pressure, having the pressure of other titles and hats that we wear, that's so important. But you also brought up something else that I just kind of wanted you to touch on. You said that you're really good with time management. Now,
Yes.
okay, because how important, can you talk about with us how important, stress the importance of time management when you are trying to, well, just with anything.
Yes, yes. Time management is everything because at the end of the day, it's the only commodity that you can't earn back. Like once it's gone, it's gone. That's it,
Once
right?
it's gone, it's gone.
It's gone. And I'm not the type of person who feels that every minute of my day has to be productive, right? Sometimes I'm
Mhm.
productively resting. Sometimes I'm productively doing nothing, right? But I'm choosing to do so. And what I've in
Right.
my years as a life coach, I've had clients, and this is, and even as a business coach, this is one of our critical subjects because you only get 24 hours. Like that's it, right?
That's it.
And what I have found is a couple of things. So one, a lot of times we get
Mhm.
stuck wasting time in, oh, I need to, oh, I'm about to, oh, I gotta, as opposed to just doing it. So that's where a lot of time goes. Another thing is we minimize how much time we're actually spending on our phones. And
Mm.
your phone will snitch on you. If you go into your
Uh,
settings and look at your screen
right.
time, it will snitch on you.
It
And so
sure
you
will.
keep feeling like I don't have time, but then you look at the data and you've been on social media for 10 hours in one day.
So true.
You do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you actually do have the time. And so, and then just being really meticulous about what you're doing in the day. And so if you're resting, rest
Mhm.
completely. If you're working, work completely. But a lot of times we spend time working, but we're thinking about how tired we are, or
Mm.
relaxing, but we're thinking about all the 50 million things that we have to do, and neither are
Wow.
being productive.
Wow.
So if you're exhausted, go take a nap. Like a 20-minute nap is more productive than a 3-hour nap. So literally, like there's plenty of studies that support that. So 20 to 30 minutes,
Wow.
go take a nap, get refreshed, and now you have the energy, or go grab coffee, or my favorite is Mountain Dew. But whatever, but if you're sitting there dragging, you're taking longer to get the thing done. And
Wow.
procrastination is huge. Like one of the things that helped me get control over my procrastination is when I'm
Mhm.
procrastinating on a task, I'll time myself to see how long it took me to do it. Like I used to be bad about putting my laundry away. And then one day I timed myself and it took me 12 minutes. And I'm like, I spent all week.
Okay, Tiara, you stepping on some toes already in the first 10 minutes
But
of our
seriously,
interview.
I spent a
Listen.
week dreading putting away this laundry, and it took me 12 minutes. Think about the time I done thought about it, the time I done moved it to the side of the bed, the mental space it took up when I could have just did
Uh,
it. You know
you
what
could
I
have
mean?
just
Like,
got it. Yeah, that is so true. Like once I'm done, like I literally cannot stand folding my clothes and putting them away. I'll wash them, I'll sort them, I'll do all of that. I'll get all of the different stuff you can put in your laundry to make it smell magical. Listen, But I do not like folding
Yeah.
clothes, hanging them
Yeah.
up, and having to do all of that. Right? Take the most work. Right? So
Absolutely.
I
And
I absolutely hear what you said. I'm just dreading it,
yeah.
but
But
when
you're
I do
spending
it,
more time and energy dreading
wasting
it
my
than it
energy.
actually takes to do it.
Y'all hear this?
Okay. And
So
I
we
do
have to stop
have,
wasting our time
okay. And if you
dreading.
need help with time management, I do have a digital download on my website. So definitely go check that out because it's the key that
Wow.
unlocks everything else. You got to get your time in order. You have to.
Gotta get our time. Y'all hear this? So if you have an issue with your time management, or if you're stuck spending your energy on the wrong things and it's taking up your time, she has an app. Wait, not an app. What do
A
you have?
digital download on my
A
website.
digital download
Yep.
for you on her website. And we're going to find out. I may ask you again, but go ahead and shoot out where's your website? What's your website so that they can know?
It's tiaranicoleriley.com.
There you go. TiaraNicoleRiley.com. You cannot miss that. As a matter of fact, let me make sure that I put I had something with your name already set up. So there you go. So that's her name. You see her name up at the top. So you can't say you know how to spell it. You can't make no excuses. Nicole Riley. Okay. So I'm talking to myself as I talk to y'all.
I love it.
Definitely
I love it.
very yes, it's important to know,
Yeah.
what I really love what you said about it is that we too much energy on the wrong things, too much energy
Mhm.
thinking about what we don't want to do when you could have just got it done and then been
And
done
moved
with it.
on.
So I I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
So that's
Absolutely.
something that I'm taking that with me.
Yes. Yes.
That one was for me.
And I'm glad it
So
found
let's talk about yes, let's talk about this book.
you.
Tell
Yes.
us about your book.
Yes. So I actually have four book babies. So my first book is called 23 and Finally Loving Me.
Okay.
Yes. And it is about the journey to self
I
love.
love it.
Yeah. And so then my next book is called When Life Gives You Lemons. And it talks about like, what do you do when life gives you those sour moments? Like, what am I supposed to do with this? And then my
Yeah.
third book is dedicated to angel moms. So it's called Life After Loss, and it talks about surviving the grief
Mm,
of miscarriage. And then my fourth book is
wow.
about, it's called Closer to My Dreams in honor of my favorite Drake song. But it is about the journey of entrepreneurship and how do you get to that? How do you get there? Like what tangible things
Yeah.
can you do to actually reach those goals? So yeah, so all four are available on my website, tiaranicoleriley.com. But I
Awesome.
my first book started as a journal and I realized how therapeutic journaling could be.
Mm-hmm.
And it did not even become a book until about 3 years later. And I felt God telling me, like, no, this can help other people. And so that's
Wow.
when I realized the power of our stories and how it could actually benefit the next person. And there's
Yeah.
been a number of people who, since I've been open about my story of miscarriage, I've had a number of people reach out to me like, hey, my friend, sister, cousin, uncle, you, whomever lost a baby. Can
Yeah.
you reach out? And I'll, send them a copy of my book and just trying to be supportive. And because it's such a topic that we don't talk enough about, that when it happens, we don't know
True.
how to deal with it. We don't
True.
know how to support people when it happens, although it happens very regularly. So
Yeah.
there's actually a chapter in the book dedicated to how to support people through that process because I realized there's not a lot of resources with what to do with that pain.
It's
Um,
not. And
yeah.
I can identify with that because I'm an angel mother myself. I
Mhm.
lost my son in 2001. He
Mm,
was born 9 months. No, I'm sorry. He was born at 9 months pregnant, and he was 2 pounds, and he was
mm,
with me for 9 days. And it took me three, no, I would say maybe I've lost track of the years of, I can say I really was able to say that, I wasn't in anymore. Like I could talk about him without, the pain coming,
Mhm,
up
mhm,
and just like feeling like crying and things like that.
mhm.
So, but I did not have resources. I had a lot of
Yeah.
supportive family, had, people around me, but I still felt alone because I didn't really feel like they understood or could
Yeah.
understand where I was coming from until I learned different ones who was able to say, like, I'm not going to say I know what you're going through because everybody's
Mhm.
journey is different, but I can relate because I've
Yeah.
had this experience. So I'm super, supportive of what, this book that you're doing, because you're right. It's not enough. It's not enough now. It was not enough then, and it's still not enough resources now to
Absolutely.
help people it's very difficult, because you have people that may feel like, you'll get pregnant again, and that is the worst you can say to somebody who has lost a child through miscarriage or
Yeah.
infancy or stillborn. It's the worst thing
Be-
you can say.
Because although it's maybe a factual statement, that doesn't do anything
Hmm.
for the pain over that child. And I miscarried
Right.
twins 3 weeks apart. And I, to this day, remember
Oh, wow.
standing in church and with good intent, but they say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. She looked me dead in my eyes and said,
Right.
she said, well, at least you still have one child left.
Mm,
And I was just like,
yeah.
was that supposed to help? you know? And
People
it's like,
mean well.
I get she meant well, but we got to be mindful of we don't have to have the answer. When people are hurting, we
There you
don't have
go.
to have the answers. We have to be
That's
present and
good.
we have to show up for them in the
Yeah.
way that they want you to show up for them.
Can you say that again? I think
Yes,
that's so important, beyond um, the loss of a child. I think that's for grieving people, period, because
absolutely.
people don't know what to do. People don't know what to do when someone has lost something. Say that one more time, because I think that is
Ab-
important.
Yeah, I think people try to find the answers and try to be able to explain to the grieving person. But in my experience, just being present and being available in the way that they need you to support them is more impactful. And I'll say this, and just we can just put a pretty little bow on it. But I think instead of telling people what they need in their grieving times, ask them, I love you. I see that you're
Mm,
hurting. How can I show up for you? And if they don't have an
love
answer,
it.
then you can say, okay, I can try this, I can offer this, I can do this, I can do this, or anything else that may come up for you.
Yeah, that's really
But
good.
don't
That's really
assume you
good.
know what they need. We cannot assume we know what people need
Mhm.
because far too often we're
You
getting it
can.
wrong, and that's causing some serious relational damage.
That was so important. You are very wise. I mean,
Oh,
the fact what you said, you're definitely, um people are, are agreeing with you in the comments. And the fact that you said you don't have to know what to say, that will just like take tons of pressure off of people. And I don't want to labor at this subject, but I know that when somebody is grieving, I am one that is like super awkward around people, that are crying or have had a loss, because I just don't want to say the wrong thing. So I always tend to say the wrong thing. So I have been like super intentional, trying to be super intentional about what I say. So the fact that you said you don't have to know what to say. And as a matter of fact, just ask me, how can I support you? Is enough.
Absolutely.
And that is
And sometimes
perfect.
it can be, hey, I cooked some extra food. Can I drop it off at your doorstep? Because a lot of
Yeah.
times, particularly for a grieving mother, like the pressure to talk about it is a
Yeah.
lot to deal with.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know how I feel about it yet. And a lot of times we put a lot of like, oh, I heard about your loss. I want to talk about, are you okay? Do you need me? And it's like sometimes I just need to laugh, right? Like
Right.
sometimes I just
How you
need,
feeling?
"Ooh,"
Yeah.
like, hey,
Yeah.
I'll come over and do your laundry this week. What time works for you? Like, be practical. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, not, and some people process better
Be
when they can talk
practical.
about it, which is why being present is helpful.
Mhm.
But some people don't want to talk about it. I had a friend who, she had a loss as well, and this she had had a number of pregnancy
Mhm.
losses. And after one of them, we
Mm.
just sat down on the couch and watched Scarface. Like that's what she needed in that moment. Just somebody to be physically present. We got some
That
good food and we watched a movie. That's it.
that's one of
Somebody
our
to be what they
life
need.
hard hosts was saying. Just be present. Your presence is what's needed. That is
Absolutely.
so true. I remember when I lost my son, what I needed was to not talk about it. So all of my loved ones came, they all sat in my room and we talked about all of the shows. Matter of fact, I'm telling my age, but back then, the real world was like a big deal. And so we were talking about that and it took my mind off of
Mhm.
even if just for a moment, that was so helpful for me. So I
Yeah,
completely understand that and get that. Thank you for sharing all
absolutely.
of that. That was like some really like big nuggets, and I hope that somebody was able to take something away that, how can I help you? I love you. What can I do? If not,
Yeah.
that's how my husband is. He'll just make you laugh. And
And we all need a good
it can
laugh.
be refreshing and help you. It's good for the soul. It really is a medicine. But awesome. So you have 4 books.
Mhm.
Can you talk to us a little bit about 23 and finally loving me?
Absolutely. My first baby. As I stated a little earlier, it did start off as a journal. So on my 23rd birthday, I just committed the year. I said, I'm going to spend the next year focused on personal growth, personal development, healing in all areas. Like I was 10 toes down. I said, we're going to get this together. We're going to figure it out. It was on the tail end of a very serious breakup. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get me together. I'm going to
Mhm.
figure out me. I'm going to do me. Because obviously, if we're breaking up at 23 and it was a very serious relationship, we've been together my whole adulthood, right? So I was like, okay, I'm going to get me
Mhm.
together. I'm going to focus on myself. And just really spent the year processing, exploring, enjoying. I mean, to date, it was the best year of my life. Like to date, I lived, okay?
Mhm.
But I also healed and I grew. And because I'm a writer by heart, I'm a writer, and I had been journaling for years at that point, but I had a special journal just dedicated to like dealing with my shenanigans.
Mhm.
And so, the year came and went. Okay, fine. And then at 25 was when I miscarried the twins. So that's 2 years later. And at
Mm.
around the time that I was pregnant, I heard God tell me, like, just type it up. Just type it up. And I did, and I try to be obedient when I hear what God is telling me to do, not just what I think is a good idea, but like a
Yeah.
God idea. Right? I try to be obedient, and I try to
Mhm.
be obedient right away because I don't want to procrastinate and then miss out on the opportunity for God to use me to help somebody else. And
Mm.
sure enough, right before I miscarried the first twin, um, one of the things that I had dealt with was depression and suicide, and that was in the first book. And
Oh,
someone in my
wow.
church group, her daughter had been date raped, and it triggered suicide, and she was in the hospital for her suicidal attempt. And her mother came to the church group and was like, you know, can you pray for my daughter? I don't know what to do. I don't know how to help. I just don't know. Right.
Yeah.
So afterwards, I went up to her mother and I said, you know, I've dealt with suicide myself. If I can help in any way, here's my number. Let me know. Couple weeks later, she
Oh,
calls me and she's like, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to help her. Like, I feel like every time I talk to her, I'm making it worse. So I asked her, you know, we had a
mm,
conversation about it. And I tried to say all the things that when I was in my dark moments, I didn't have the strength to say to my mother. Right. And I didn't know her
yeah,
daughter, but I was like offering perspective, like maybe try this, maybe consider this, maybe this will help. Right. And I even
that's
I
good.
asked her, I said, you know, does your daughter like to read? And she said, yeah. I said, awesome. I have a book. I would love to send it to her. And that was the first time I realized that my words could help, my experience could help another person. Right. So being able to talk
Wow.
to the mother and say, like, when she's saying this, maybe this is what she's asking for, or maybe this is how you could show up and support her. Right. And it was back a similar conversation about like maybe she doesn't want to talk about it. Like, had my mother asked me what I needed, it would have been, I want to lay in
Yeah.
bed and watch movies all day. Like, that's all I want. I don't want to talk about why I'm sad. I don't
Wow.
want to talk about how I'm feeling. I'm not ready for that. But how you could, like, had I been asked, my answer would have been. But in that moment, I didn't have the strength to say what I needed.
Wow.
I was told what I needed, and I just said, okay, right? So being able to have conversations like that, and to be able to share my story and it actually help both of them, it just, I knew in that moment I needed to start the process to turn it into a book. Shortly thereafter, I miscarried the twins, but it was about a year and a month after I lost the twins that it was like published and in my hand. So
Mhm.
it definitely was a journey. And as I've gotten into motivational speaking since then and being able to share, you know, publish a couple of different books, I've had people literally walk up
Mhm.
to me and say, thank you for sharing your story. Here's mine. And that's my favorite part because it's a reminder that when I'm open, I give people permission to share as well. And
Mm.
it's a level of
So
freedom.
true. Yeah. That's awesome. That's amazing. Thank you for having the courage to write that book. Because that is so true. I love what you said that I'm feeling right now, or I don't even know how to articulate into words what I'm feeling right now. But really, all I want to do is just take my mind off of it.
Mhm.
Really, all I want to do is just watch a movie and just hang out. That's
Yeah,
even like
and
goes back to
everybody's
the
process,
same remedy of
yeah,
grief.
absolutely. Everybody's process is different, and I think when we go into it with the golden rule and try and treat people how we would wanna be treated in that moment, we miss out on
Mhm.
the platinum rule, which is treating them how they wanna be treated in that moment, right? Like, it can come and go. Like,
Yeah,
sometimes I wanna escape, sometimes I wanna talk about it. Sometimes I wanna feel it and
yeah,
let it out and purge and have a safe space to do that, and sometimes I wanna act like it never happened and go laugh and dance and be merry, you know what I mean? So it really,
right.
all we can do is show up how people are needing us in those moments.
That is so good. Someone says thank you for your transparency. But that just goes back to show you, like when you said, just sharing your story,
Mm,
and your obedience, you said to the voice of God telling you to put it in a book. We
mhm.
don't ever really know like why, we
Mm-mm,
feel like that.
mm-mm.
The spirit leading us to do something in a particular time and where we feel like maybe I need a little more time, or I'm going to do it at such and such time, or I should have did it back then. But I believe in divine timing. So I believe that was your divine timing moment,
Absolutely.
even if it was just for the young lady,
Yeah.
and you
And
don't
it's
know what to say, but having a resource is,
mhm,
something that's gonna be here long after you're gone. That
absolutely.
resource, your story. and testimony is going to help be a resource to be able to help somebody, because we don't want to share our stories, right? Like sometimes we don't want to be transparent, and we don't want, concerned about what people might think and feel, and it's valid. I understand that, but it's so powerful when somebody has such a powerful testimony, and just have, just vulnerable moment in your lifetime, you putting it in that book probably
Yeah.
could
And
have
and,
saved
speaking of the
lives.
timing, it's the timing is necessary, right? Like, you have to be obedient, and when I'm thinking back on the timeline of, like, that year or 2, so when I was urge to type it up, right? Weeks later was when the
Yeah.
miscarriage happened. I had no way of knowing that was gonna happen, right? And had it happened
Wow.
before I typed it, I wouldn't have typed it. Like, I would have been focused on everything else, surviving, you know? And then by
Right.
the time I actually got it published, I was planning an event for my sorority at the time, and we were doing a women's empowerment event. And my chapter president at the time, she said, I wonder if we have any authors in the chapter. Now, mind you, I'm planning the event. Like, I'm the chair of the event, right?
Mhm.
And I was like, well, my
Yeah.
book will be out by then. Now, had I not been obedient in that timing, I wouldn't have been at least started the process to get it published, and I already had a release date as well. And that
Wow.
opportunity, that event was my first speaking engagement, and that's where I found my purpose. Like, you have to be obedient because you don't know what the other pieces of the puzzle are coming. But a lot of times we don't move until we see the whole picture. If you
Mm.
see that one piece, go do that piece. And then when you see the next piece, go do that piece. And then the next piece. But when we wait to see the whole puzzle piece, you might miss out.
That is so important. You talking to me right now, so excuse me while I collect myself. Seriously, you are definitely bringing so much confirmation to stuff that I literally was just asking God today. So, grateful. But let me
Listen,
go back to
that's how it be. You be like, You ain't have to come for
look.
me now." But
That's
I
what I
hear you.
said. If you don't mind getting off my toes, please.
But are you listening?
Look. Well, that is so important. Like just the obedience part. It was the obedience part for me. Just like God is urging you to do something. You feel it, you hear it. Depending on how in tune you are with, like, He's saying it. Just do it because you don't know what it is setting you up for. You don't know what like his planning is, and your future self that you can't see yet, and somebody else who is connected to. His thoughts is not our thoughts, right? So we don't
Yeah,
know what he's got planned. So it
right.
pays for us to be obedient. Somebody said divine timing.
Mhm.
Obedience is better than sacrifice.
And
And
I would
ain't
like
that the
to
truth?
just okay, and I would like to just add, obedience works when you no longer hear him telling you to do a thing. That's a two-way street. I just throwing it out there. So you might have once heard him say do it, but if you no longer hear him say do it, it might be time to stop.
That's good. That's good. Listen, it goes both ways.
It,
If he not saying it no more,
they,
go ahead and let it go.
child.
Listen, because that season might have passed. That
Absolutely.
season might have passed. And unfortunately, look, somebody just put it on there. Being disobedient will cause you to miss your beat. I
Okay.
mean,
Listen. And that goes back to the time management piece. Like, a huge portion of time management is energy management, right? And a lot of times we're exhausted because we're doing too much. And you might be doing too much because you're
wow.
doing something that you're not supposed to be doing no more. And just because it's a
Ooh,
good thing, you mean it's what you're supposed to be doing. Is it your thing?
I'm trying to find something to throw at you.
I'm just.
You preaching now. Come on, girl. You ain't motivational speaking no more. You preaching now. Say that again
Child.
for the people in the back.
Listen, Is it a good thing or is it your thing?
Ooh,
If I knew how to get my act right and not sin, I might could be a preacher, but you know,
listen, it ain't
I
about you
I
not
I
sinning.
ain't
We
perfect.
all sinning. Listen, every last one, preachers, teachers, apostles. It's the posture of your heart, sis.
Yeah,
Listen.
that ain't the first time
Oh
I'd have
my
heard that
God.
one.
Well, if you keep hearing it, that's all I'm gonna
I know,
say.
I know, I
Listen,
know. I hear you.
you got
I hear you.
another shoe being thrown at you in the comments.
Oh,
Listen,
I love it. I love it.
we could we could go ahead and shut the interview down now. Look, she done preached. Right at this point, you need to put up your cash app in the comments so we
Li-
can collect this offering.
Listen, don't threaten me with a good time, okay?
Do do what you feel, sis.
Listen,
Do what you feel.
listen. But
So
no,
somebody said,
yes.
and I have learned slow obedience is still
Ooh,
disobedience. And I've heard that before. I
absolutely.
heard it put like this: delayed obedience is still
Hmm.
disobedience.
Disobedience. And I
And that
believe
whoops me
that
every time.
wholeheartedly.
Listen, because you could miss your beat, like you were saying. Like if he not
Absolutely.
saying
Had
it no
I
more and
delayed,
you didn't do it,
yeah, and had I delayed in that moment, in any of those moments, I
right?
might have missed my whole purpose. I might have missed my life's purpose had I delayed.
Girl, Tiara, you preaching now. I don't even want my little notes. We done crossed over something
Ah,
else.
listen,
Oh boy,
I'm
that's a
just
whole
here.
word.
I'm just here.
That's a whole word. Listen, we gotta start being obedient, folks. When you hear God, if you're not listening to God, you better listen to something. Whatever is leading and guiding you that's positive. But on this platform, I'm gonna say you better find what's driving you and hear that voice and listen to it, take heed, and then put action behind, because if not, you're going to miss something. You're going to miss out on an opportunity for you, or if you're a person that has your feelings or emotions for other people, right? Then you're going to miss out on an opportunity for somebody else. And in your case, who would want to miss out on that? Being
Hmm.
able to encourage somebody that was willing and constantly in their own life, or
Yeah.
somebody that's grieving, or
And
somebody
it
that's,
was,
go ahead.
yeah. It was literally the first time I was grateful for my experiences with depression and suicide because I was able,
Mm,
through my experience, I was able to help another family, right? And when I'm able
wow.
to reach out and support people who have suffered through miscarriage, it's hard to say I'm grateful for my loss and my experience with my loss because I don't know that I will ever reach that point, but it
Yeah.
feels a little less painful if I can use my pain to help somebody else process theirs.
Oh yeah, definitely. That definitely. And it goes back to the word that we are overcome, right? Of
Mm,
course, by the blood of the Lamb, but the words of our testimony. So every single time that you get to talk about it, write about it, share it, that's healing for you as well.
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
that's deep. Well, we just got real deep real quick, okay? I
I'm
feel like
sorry.
the other stuff that we got to talk about is not, you know what I mean? But I
Yeah,
mean,
but
so the
we listen,
collection
we can
plate
have a
is
few
open.
laughs.
Listen, we're gonna lighten it up a little bit. I know a lot of you feel whooped, a lot of you feel encouraged, a lot of you feel inspired. I feel all three. Um, but you are really like a jack of all trades. You have a lot to offer as it relates to being an author, as it relates to being as it relates to being a mom and juggling your career, or all of the things that you've done. You do motivational speaking.
Mhm.
So, can you tell us a little bit about that?
I love motivational speaking. I really do. I really do. And in the story I shared earlier, that was my first experience officially like speaking as a motivational speaker. I've done public speaking, in different conferences and presentations and class and things like that. But that was my first time
Hmm.
stepping into that lane, and I was 27, maybe something like that. And I remember for the first time in my life being like, huh, this is my purpose. I mean, almost 3 decades of searching high and low, looking for like, why am I here? What am I on this earth for? What is my God given purpose? I would love to go in that direction,
Mm.
but I don't know what I'm here to do. Right. And so to
Yeah.
finally feel like, whoa, this is it.
Yeah.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And if you visit my website, you can see some of my old videos. I did take a mom break. Momhood kicked my butt. I meant to take 2 months. It turned into like a year. Child, life be life, and
It's okay.
life be life, and uh, But I actually my very last speaking engagement, I was doing a mental health summit and I was literally 50 million weeks pregnant. Like I was like tad. Okay.
And doing
And
the
it was funny
summit.
enough, my first event back was for the same mental health summit with my girl Lakeisha and Mosley. And I was just like, huh, that's a full circle moment. But I'm back, I'm here, I'm ready. And now I have a new thing to talk about, which is mommyhood. And it's the best hood I've been a part of.
Come on. Listen.
As
It's rewarding. It's
in the background.
look, the baby was like, that's my cue.
She was like, oh, you're not gonna speak without me. Like what?
Look. She was like, oh, it's my turn. Y'all done preaching?
Right, right. Y'all ready for me? Yeah, my little COVID baby.
Well,
I cannot
wow,
have a
that's
virtual meeting
beautiful.
without her thinking she's having a virtual meeting.
Of course, right? So you're
Yeah.
getting some congratulations in the
Thank you.
comments.
Thank
Definitely
you.
congratulations on
Thank
becoming a mommy and joining that crew. It's the
Yeah,
best crew around.
it
And,
is.
it's rewarding. Like you said, it's a lot of
Mhm.
work, especially when you're trying to be more than just a mom. And that's a whole nother
Mhm.
of
Yeah.
trying to make sure that you maintain your identity
Yeah.
outside of motherhood. As beautiful as it is very time consuming, especially when you have little babies.
Mhm.
Multiple babies. I didn't have to experience multiple, but just with the one kick my butt, and
Okay.
then later on in life adding two children that I adopt with special needs. So it's like,
Mhm.
it's all hard work, but so rewarding. Can you
Yeah.
talk about like how you was able to balance?
Mhm. Mhm.
I have a feeling I know who this is in the comments. That might be her co-host Katasha chiming in just by the way she said it's all right talking about
That's
mommy.
funny.
But she
Yeah, I
said
love
just
it.
kidding.
No,
But
so
can
I
you talk
actually
about juggling the balance?
absolutely. So it is I think that juggling the balance really looks like understanding that you'll never be balanced again. You'll never be balanced again. And just accepting that and being like, "Okay." Like, the show goes on, and it's
True.
tough because 'cause I'm a Libra. I thrive on balance. Always have. And so to be at
Mhm.
a point in life where
Yeah.
I'm just like, "You know what? It's gonna be what it's gonna be." But actually,
It's gonna be what it's
another
gonna be.
it's gonna be. I have a blog on my
Right?
website called Surviving Motherhood, and it's really just being honest
Oh,
about
nice.
the challenges of motherhood. So when she said it's all right, I'm like, girl, I felt. You know what I mean? Like it ain't always cute. It ain't always fun. It ain't like my kid
Listen.
is adorable, but let me tell you, sometimes she tap dance on my nerves every once in a while. You know,
Mm,
I just feel like, you know what, I need
and
a
it
break.
don't stop us.
And
I'm here
so
to
what I
tell you, ba-
okay,
my baby
and
is
let me
19. It don't stop.
I believe it. I believe it. And I just want us to have the space to be able to say, like, motherhood is hard,
Yeah,
pregnancy is hard. And a lot of times
that's
when
good.
women try to be honest about that, they're
Hmm.
viewed as bad moms. And that's not the case, or viewed as moms that don't want their kids. And
Right.
that's not the case. I can love my
Come
child and
on.
be so grateful she's here and also express the fact that I'm exhausted and I need a minute. You know what I mean? And so being
Listen.
able to live in both spaces, and that's the goal of the blog, is to be honest about what we're going through without feeling like you have to put
Yeah.
this caveat and say, "I love my kid though." Like, girl, okay, pregnancy sucks. I can be grateful for my child
Hmm.
and acknowledge
It does.
I hated the pregnancy. Like it was rough. But we
Right.
a, we got to be honest about our experiences, and then B, we have to
Yeah.
stop allowing people to guilt us about being honest about our experiences. Because the
Hmm.
reality is, a lot of us are walking into pregnancy and motherhood thinking it's going to be one way because that all you see is the highlight reel of both, and then you end up pregnant. And you're like, is something wrong with me? Like I am
Listen.
traumatized from somebody said I'm not having another because it's the second pregnant. I am traumatized from
Yeah.
pregnancy. I think I'm good. Like it just was a very rough pregnancy. And the
Mm.
you got the new one, like none of it is cute. She's cute. I love her. I'm glad she's here. But my God,
Yeah.
being exhausted, being sleep deprived, waking up every
Hmm.
2 hours because she's hungry, like none of that is fun.
Hmm.
And I think we should be able
Yeah.
to be okay being honest about what we're going through so that the next mother knows
Yeah.
at least has a conscious idea of what they're going into. And the mothers that are currently struggling don't feel like they're alone.
Yeah. That's so good. That's so good. I actually want to take this moment. If you could talk to somebody that may be dealing with any form of depression,
Mhm,
anxiety, feeling overwhelmed, grieving, and really don't know how to voice what
mm.
they're feeling, to the people that surround them, to their circle, what would you say to them?
Step one, get a therapist that shares your racial and gender identities. Yes,
Mm,
everybody's trained to help everybody, but getting somebody who shows up in the world in the same way that you do makes a difference. Um, the therapist I
that's
have now,
good.
I started with her when I was pregnant with the twins. And I love my therapist. Like if I could shout her out individually, I would, cause like that, I love her. So get you a solid therapist. My recommendations for finding that. So a lot of times, access and money are the common not excuses, but barriers people face when they're looking for a good therapist. I would recommend
Hmm.
going to like therapy.com, sorting who accepts your insurance. A lot of times they allow you
Yeah.
to sort by gender and then just look at the pictures, child. Just see if they identify how you identify. It matters, right? Because
Right.
for me, I can show up as me. Like I don't have to translate, I don't have to explain, I don't have to code switch. I show up as me,
Mhm.
and and especially in a post-COVID space, you might have access to a therapist that's on the other side of the state now. You know what I mean? Because a lot of them had to transition
Yeah.
to virtual spaces. Take advantage of that. Use it, right?
Right.
So, get you a really good therapist. And if you don't feel like that's the right therapist, don't give up on therapy. Go find a new therapist. Find the right therapist for you. The second thing, journal. Journaling is a
Mm,
very therapeutic process. It allows you to express yourself without fear of judgment or rebuttal or like there's nobody to talk back to you. There's nobody to tell you you're wrong. You just
right.
processing and experiencing and
Right.
releasing, right?
Yeah.
So that's been a very helpful part of my journey. And then in the most recent years, being able to have your core, I call them my wellness crew. So it may not be a big group of people, but for me, I have like three people that are my safe space to be vulnerable. I can
Mm-hmm.
call one of them and say, I'm not okay. I can, and I'm not a big phone person. So they know if I call,
Yeah.
something's wrong. You know
That's
what I mean? Like,
something.
something's up.
Right.
And having that safe space to be vulnerable allows me to process, right? Um,
Hmm.
they hold me accountable. So I'm not saying these are the yes men in your circle, right? These are the people who are going to be honest with you and
Yeah.
going to push back on certain things, but allow you to feel what you feel. Like your feelings are valid, and here's where you might have been a little bit wrong, or here's what you could have done different, or here's how you can help move forward. Me and my best friend the other day, we was like, listen, can I make the decisions for your life, or either you make the decisions for my life? Because clearly
That's
individual
good.
accountability just ain't working. Like,
That's
listen, let's just
good.
trade. You know what I mean? And I put her to work
Exactly.
the first day. Uh, but no, like when I think about and somebody mentioned postpartum. When I think about my postpartum journey, one thing that I would highly recommend is coming up, especially if you've had any exposure to depression in the past, you're at a greater risk for
Hmm.
postpartum depression. So have a wellness plan in place. When I talked to my wellness crew before I even delivered Kayla, so I was having therapy every week while I was pregnant, clockwork, every week, whether I was good, bad, or indifferent, and during my postpartum
Yeah.
experience as well. And then talking to the people that I'm closest to, and saying like, "Hey, this is what depression looks like for me. I may not be able to name it. Here's how you can identify it, and here's
That's
what I
good.
might need in that moment. Here's how you can
Oh,
support,"
that's
because two of
good.
the three people were in a different state, right? So here, if you see these signs, here's what I might need from you in that moment. Here's how you can support me while I'm in a good space, right? So then when I'm in a dark space, I don't have to explain, or you know what I mean? Like we've already had the preemptive conversation.
Yeah.
Um, and my sweet precious daughter made me wait until 41 weeks, and I was induced, and she still took 45 hours to come out. Um, so she made me wait for it. It worked
Woo-wee.
real hard for this pregnancy, right? But a couple weeks before my due date, one of the people that I'm closest to, she literally sent me 5 affirmations every morning for the duration of my pregnancy. Now, mind you, this was even after I went over
Wow.
my due date. Like it was, good morning, sis. Here's your
Yeah.
affirmations for the day. And it was just an opportunity to just one focus on me, right? Like someone to remind me,
Yeah.
like, start your day worried about what you need in this moment. And I mean, I would
Wow.
be lost without my closest friends. And if you don't feel that way, if you don't feel
That's
like they
kind of,
support you in that capacity, don't be afraid to find new friends.
yeah.
And I'm not saying burn that bridge,
Ooh,
right? But you need to find somebody who
mm,
you can be safe,
no.
vulnerable with. I have friends
You
that
can
we just
connect
laugh.
with.
Right. Everybody has a purpose.
Hmm.
I have friends that I just laugh. I have friends that we just go out and have food. But you have to have at least one person in your life that you have a safe space to be vulnerable with. And I'm grateful to have multiple, but it was a process, right? And being able to like
Yeah.
really lean into those relationships and understanding that every relationship is not your safe space to be 100% vulnerable.
Ooh, that's so good and so important to know and identify that. I see, I think my circle knows, yeah, we know child. But it's so important to have that safe space. And you said something that was really important. Everybody is not like your good girlfriend that you go hang out with and have dinner with once in a while, and you guys have casual conversation. That might not be your vulnerable person. And it's okay if they're not. You don't have to try to feel obligated to make somebody be something just because they do have a space in your life.
Hmm.
That was very,
Absolutely.
very important. Very, very
Absolutely.
important. Well, child, I feel whooped, beat, encouraged, uh, empowered. Look, like I had some good girlfriend time. Like I've
Yes.
been your corner. We need you
Yeah.
a collection plate. You a whole preacher, child. Um, I'm telling you, it's definitely been a pleasure. I mean, you are doing it all. Definitely the true representation of mommypreneur, author, or author, motivational speaker. You are mommy in all kinds of ways and still juggling all of these things. You have your blog, you're blogging and helping people. You also, we didn't talk about this, but you have a podcast. You got a whole podcast. Tell the people
Um,
about your podcast.
yeah, it's been a while since I posted on the podcast, but I leave it up so that the people can gather something.
Well,
But
it's there.
it's there, it's there.
You on the
But one
break.
thing, okay, and that's one of the things where I no longer felt like I was supposed to be doing it, so I
Mm.
stopped. You know, um, but the
Well,
my
at least
recent,
we have the videos to catch up
yeah, they
on what
still up there.
what you have for that season.
It might
Somebody
bless
said,
somebody.
Jackie of all trades. Kudos to you, Queen.
Thank you. But the one thing I do want to leave the audience with, I recently released a personal development boot camp called Rethinking Me. And it is something that I put myself through, right? And I had to listen, I went through all the things, like every speech I done gave, every training I done gave, put it all in one cute little bundle. But I put me
Mm.
through it first, and then I put a group of my friends through it as well to get their feedback and their experience and stuff like that. But it's something I'm really proud of, and it's challenging you to create the life that you love. Right? Like a lot of times we go through life just accepting the cards that were dealt and trying to make the best of it. Right? And for the longest, I didn't even process that I could redesign my life. Right. So that
Mm.
was something I had to work through. But since I've made the intentional effort to say, like, okay, I enjoy this part of my life, how can I do more of it? Right. Or I love what I do, but maybe I'm with the wrong people or wrong company. Or I love doing this, but this is the challenge. How can I do this differently? And so the Rethinking Me boot camp is definitely on my website, tiaranicoleriley.com, but please check it out. It will absolutely, if you are feeling like I'm all over the place, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm not happy, I'm not excited about life, um, definitely check it out.
All right. Rethinking Me boot
Yes.
camp. And this is virtual, right?
Yes, it was a virtual training. So you take it at your pace, wherever, absolutely.
Awesome. Awesome. Guys, let's please support this awesome, awesome, awesome person, mommy, business owner, author, motivational speaker. Yes, girl, I'm shouting you out, putting all of your stuff out there because it's beautiful that you were able to where am I in your life, co-host Janai? Girl, that you were able to accomplish all of those things and still being a mom. I don't know if are you married? Did you say you were
Um,
married?
you we
Okay.
working on
Well,
it.
whatever. But
We
you still
working
got
on it.
something going on.
Got a
Maintain a
little something,
relationship.
something.
Okay.
A little something, something. We working on it,
So,
child. Life.
but that's okay. That's okay. It is what it is, right? But I salute you, and I'm so glad to have had you on. I mean, you took us real deep, real quick. We tackled some very important topics, just learning how to recognize depression, by just letting your circle know, hey, this if I'm doing this, if I'm here with it, you better check on me because I feel like I'm
Yeah.
slipping over here. This is how you can tell if I'm
Yeah.
slipping in this area. I think that is so important.
Absolutely.
Talking about how to support people through grief. I really, really, really appreciate so much of the nuggets that you talked about. You even covered stuff that I didn't have to ask you. You already talked about it. Just the support system, that was going to be how important was the support system. And you already pretty much talked about it's important to have, certain ones. So kudos to you again. Thank
Thank
you so much
you.
for being a part of Life Her podcast. We're excited to have you on. Guys, please support her. Can you just shout, is your all of your social media handles Tiara Nicole Riley?
It sure is, child. I try to make things as simple
Look,
as possible. Okay.
I
Every
heard
social
that.
media
I'm working on that.
platform. Okay, Tiara Nicole Riley, you will find me. My website, Tiara Nicole Riley. My email, Tiara Nicole Riley at gmail.com. Child, I'm simple. Okay. LinkedIn,
See,
Tiara,
and
whatever,
I'm
everywhere.
learning that from you. Somebody keeps bugging me that I need to change my email and make it more simplified. And I think you just came as a little confirmation. But I am excited about this interview. This interview was really, really, really good for me.
Thank
You came
you.
with confirmation. I mean, it was just a good flow. I don't usually go a whole hour. When I'm talking, unless somebody's really talking. I mean, it just is what it is. But
Yeah.
it just it was really, really, really good. You have so much depth um in
Thank
you
you.
and things to talk about. So support her, Tara. Ryan, go to Instagram and follow her. I did. Janai will. That's me.
Thank you.
Go to Facebook, follow her. Go to her website, her books, check out her blog, and definitely support her boot camp. We already can hear, what she has to offer. So I'm sure that it's more than meets the eye. And definitely excited meeting you. Thank you so much again for being on. And
Thank you for
hopefully,
having me.
maybe we'll be back.
Please,
Absolutely. And maybe
please.
we'll
I
have
would
you
love
back.
to.
And do you have anything else? I know you got the boot camp coming up. Is there anything else that you want us to be able to look out for coming up?
Um, I only try to speak on what's for sure, and I think we're gonna leave
Okay.
that there. There's a lot
Okay.
coming, but that's the only
I hear
one
you.
that's solidified, and I'm ready to put out there. But there is things coming.
Okay, so we got stuff brewing, but it's not
Absolutely,
ready to be put out yet. But we definitely
absolutely,
have a lot to go off of so far. You definitely have a lot that we can get started with. And
yeah.
hopefully you will reach back out to us and be with us. All right. Thank you so much,
Thank
Tiara.
you,
It was a
thank you.
pleasure. Y'all show her some love and go and follow her. Two that meets me here on Monday. Been a pleasure. Y'all come back and rock with me. Y'all come back and see. I don't know. Maybe next week. Stay tuned to try and see. What we have coming up next. Also, stay tuned through the rest of the week and catch us and check us out on Instagram, Life Her Podcast. And we will always have something going on. Everybody have a great rest of your day. And don't forget to enjoy yourself. I don't know why I just felt to do that, but I did. Enjoy your life.